What is going on, all you card collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan with the 40-year-old collector. And I know I say this all the time, but I really, really mean it this go around. Like, I am pumped to bring you this video series. As I was thinking through what am I going to do with this, how am I going to present it, what cards am I going to list, I had to do some serious soul searching, to be honest with you. What cards would I want to add? How would I allocate the different dollars? I did a lot of population reports, a lot of sales reports, stuff that I normally do, but this time I was doing it all with a purpose. So really enjoyed making this. I hope you guys enjoy watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. Here's the premise. So I fall asleep tonight, I wake up tomorrow, and my collection is gone. So I've been collecting PSA graded NFL Hall of Fame rookie players for almost 20 years now. So if I wake up and everything's gone, I'm going to need a straitjacket and a padded room because I'm going to lose my mind. That being said, there is going to be a small silver lining in that I will wake up, collection will be gone, but I will have a small chunk of change in my pocket that I can use to start rebuilding said collection. Okay? I'm going to do different videos. In this video, I start off with $100 to start the rebuild process. I'm going to do 500, 1,000, 3,000, 5,000. And in each one, obviously, you can imagine we're going to have a very different path to start the rebuilding process. Again, I had a ton of fun doing this. I lean a little more pre-modern or vintage, if you will, but I also make sure that I show a build where we do older cards and a build where we do some newer cards, some more modern cards. And one of the things that I really, really, really hope that comes of this is if there's any grandma, grandpas, moms, dads, brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, friends, frenemies, I don't care. If you have anybody in your life who you think could possibly enjoy the wonderful hobby of sports card collecting, somebody who you think would, get happiness when they receive a card that's on this list maybe, I would love it if you use this as an example. So Christmas is coming up, and this video is on starting over with $100. If you have somebody who you think might be interested, be it a boy, a girl, an adult, a child, it doesn't matter. This would be a great way, a great blueprint to follow to spend $100 on them for Christmas and get them started in the hobby. The future of this wonderful hobby is in the youth. So the more kids we get involved, the better, and it's a ton of fun. So without further ado, let's kind of get into this and see where my head was at. So value versus quality. There is a lot of cards out there where population report doesn't necessarily reflect the price that's being charged. So it's a low-ish pop card, and it's still going for a pretty good value. So I looked for those to add into this rebuilding process. And then quality, at the same time, at $100, we can still find some quality. There's certainly all of the cards in here I would define as quality, but you want to make sure that you have a great card of a great player that's going to get everybody excited too. One of my benefits when I first started doing this was one of my very, very first cards was a Joe Montana PSA 7. And when I was talking to people about getting back into the hobby, it was easy for me to explain to them, well, I got a PSA 7 Joe Montana. Everybody knew what Joe Montana was. Everybody knew about his greatness. And then I just had to talk to them about PSA and the grading process, and they thought it was super cool. And I think one of the things that really helped me get hooked was having that big name player early on that people found interest in, people knew who it was, and then I could talk more about the collecting side of things. So we're going to talk about that. And then there's always the collecting versus investing side of things. I'm a firm believer that if you're not a collector first, then the investing side doesn't matter. You got to be a collector first. You got to love the hobby. You got to love the players. You got to love the cardboard. And if you do that, if you start off that way, like I did, I just started collecting, and it's ended up being one of the greatest investments that I've had. It's outperformed most of my portfolio over the last 20 years. So, we're going to figure out what we want to do and what the goal is, and then we're going to go from there. So here, we want to get great value at $100, and we want to focus on collecting some great players, and we want to leave ourselves a little room to grow. So let's get into the cards now. Card numero uno. Drum roll, please. Bam. 1995 SP Curtis Martin PSA 9. Okay, this is first on the list for a couple reasons. Number one, it's a 9 and it's a pop 319. So borderline modern. I'd say it's pseudo modern. 319 isn't a huge population for a PSA 9 from 1995. Curtis Martin was a great running back. Obviously, he's in the Hall of Fame. This is his rookie card. But I don't think anyone thinks he's one of the greatest of all time. He's great enough to be in the Hall of Fame, but he's certainly not one of the greatest of all time. Only 21 higher. If I were to show you this population report, a pop 319 with 21 higher, without showing the card, without showing the year and all that stuff, you would think this was easily a 100, 200, possibly even a $300 card because the higher pop is so much smaller. You know, PSA 9, a lot of the 10s are going to be in collections already, so they're not going to be in circulation. So PSA 9 will probably be as high as you're going to find. So the fact that this card is $25 is an absolute steal. You can buy this card today, right now. All my prices include what you would pay with tax and shipping included. You can easily get this card for 25 bucks on eBay. Super, super, super value. Great addition to any collection. One of the reasons I think it's so cheap is I think it's an ugly card. I don't say that very often, but I don't like the black and then the dark brown. I just think it's an ugly card of a really good player. So, you know, there's a lot of value in this one. All right, what do we got next? Marshall Faulk. Greatest show on turf. Him, Kurt Warner, Torrey Holt. Like, what an amazing run those Rams teams had, and Marshall Faulk was at the center of all of it. This, on the other hand, is not an ugly card. This is a very, very pretty card. And these PSA 9s are all over the place. 1994 SP foil, they printed 1 million of them. You'll see the population for this card is almost 3,100. Again, they're all over the place. But if you are starting, I have this in a pop 9 or a mint 9 in my collection. I don't have a 10. I've got a PSA 9 and I'm happy to hold a PSA 9. Someday, maybe, if I fill the entire collection out, will I circle back and upgrade? I don't know, but I'm very happy to have the 9 in my collection right now. 611 higher. Again, you can get a 10 for a reasonable price, but for this value build, for this $100 build, I think a PSA 9 right here is right where we need to be. And again, $15, you can't beat it. Your grading fees are going to be more than $15. If you were to find this car raw and submit it and pray that you get a 9, you're going to pay 20 bucks to get it graded today. So picking this up for 15 is a steal. I looked at this a week ago before I even thought to build this thing out, and I said to my wife, I wish I had somebody in my life who collected football cards so I could buy this for them. No need to buy it for my kids because they're going to inherit mine someday, but amazing, amazing card for $15. Can't beat it. I love this card. I think it's so pretty. I really, really do. I love the black border. I love that it's sideways. They did a remake, I think in 2014. Topps did, a remake of this set with new players, and I think that's absolutely beautiful too. Richard Dent, on that, legendary Bears defense. The guy's an absolute animal. I think this is a beautiful card. PSA 8, because it's got those black borders all the way around. 9s and 10s are really, really hard to come by, and they're also pretty expensive. Pop 640. Not a huge population. I'm okay with that for a 1985 card with borders like that, no problem. 211 higher, you got some 9s and 10s mixed in there, but still, for the price at $25, I don't think you can beat that. I really don't. I think there's great value in this card. I'd be proud to have this in my collection. Actually, I do have this card in PSA 8 in my collection, and I'm happy to hold it and I'm happy to display it. Great card. Next one. When we talked earlier about the star power and the big names, right? I talked about Joe Montana, rookie year 1981. Here we go. Another one on that amazing 49ers dynasty team, Ronnie Lott. Everybody remembers Ronnie Lott. That hard-hitting safety, hard-hitting defensive back. As the story goes, he'd rather have his finger amputated than come out of the game. I mean, just great story behind this guy. Everybody knows the name. I have a PSA 8. I think it's a beautiful card. I think there's great value in it. Coming in a pop again, high pop, 2,000, 660 higher. Not a difficult card. You saw the difference between that card we looked at before, the Richard Dent PSA 8. Populations were much, much lower, had that black border going all the way around. This is a relatively easier card to get in a good grade. White all the way around. Centering's an issue. It can have some gum stains on it. Back in this day, they had a lot of gum in the packages, but not a hard card to find in high grade. But for this $100 build, $35 all day long. So there it is. This total came up to $100, $100 build. My collection is gone. The next day, I got to spend some money to get started. I got the 82 Topps Ronnie Lott. Love the player, love the story. Got the 85 Richard Dent. Love the black borders. Think it's a beautiful card. Again, on an iconic defense. Love that card. Marshall Faulk from the greatest show on turf. Another guy, great name brand recognition. Everybody knows who he is. Everybody who knows football knows about that Rams team. And then the Curtis Martin. I think there's incredible value in this card. Someday I believe the market will catch up with the scarcity of this card. And I'm happy to hold it at that price until it does. So as I talked about too, I don't just want to do vintage cards. I want to talk about a modern build too. So here's what I would do if I had a modern build. I would bring in a 2021 Panini Jamar Chase PSA 10. I think that Jamar Chase has a lot of upside. I think he's a very, very talented wide receiver. I think he's going to be, him and Burrow are going to do big things for a long, long time. The thing that I liked about this Panini too is Panini Prism is going to be like Topps Chrome. Like if you look at all of the Hall of Fame rookie cards, in the I'd say 2005 on, really, up until Panini got the NFL contract here the last couple of years, they're all Topps Chrome. Panini Prism is going to be the Topps Chrome of the foreseeable future. So this will be the most desirable rookie card when it comes to rookie card set collections. So Jamar Chase, PSA 10, 365 pop, zero higher. That 10 population is going to go up, obviously, because it's still relatively new. Lots of these are going to come out of the woodworks. But for $65, I'll take a flyer on it. I think he's worth it. The other one, Khalil Mack, right? Way less of a flyer. This guy could retire tomorrow, and he's probably going to make the Hall of Fame. He's got a pop 564. This is from 2014. So you'll get some more that come out of the woodworks over the next couple of years, especially when he retires, when he gets in the Hall of Fame. People tend to submit cards then, but none higher. And right now you can buy this for $35. So this is a really cool way to introduce somebody into the hobby if you have $100. These players are out there, obviously. They're still playing. They're big name players. You hear about them all the time. You got one on offense, one on defense. I think this is a really cool entry point for somebody who's looking to get in the hobby with cards that will appreciate in value. The Khalil Mack will double or triple in value when he gets into the Hall of Fame. It's easily going to be $130 plus card. You look at some of these newer guys who got into the Hall with less name power than him. They're all in the 130s. And Jamar Chase, he's got a long ways to go. If and when, we can discuss, but if he keeps on pace, the card will only appreciate in value as well. And at the end of the day, collect what makes you happy. Just because this is how I would spend my $100, I'd spend it a little more vintage side. If you wanted to spend it a little more modern side, if you want to leave in the comments and say, Ryan, you're crazy. If I had $100 to rebuild your collection, I would start with one card. I would buy one Primo, the best card I could buy for $100 and start from there. That's the way to go too. I just know that when I first started, getting that momentum early on, having a couple cards to show off, having a couple cards to hold and look at, a couple players to learn about, really helped build like that snowball of excitement, that momentum for me to continue in the hobby. And that's why I decided not to go with one card. I decided to go with two for the modern and four for the more vintage, more Ryan style cards. So listen, I had a ton of fun recording this. I had a ton of fun making this. Leave me comments, subscribe, hit that bell, hit the like. I've got the $500 video on tap. I can't wait to get that out to you. I hope you guys have an awesome night. And as always, happy collecting.